Hello, everyone. I know I promised I was going to be on the other night, but ended up getting home so late, and there was no way I was going to come on like at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, the next day it was church, which was on Sunday. It's around midnight, so let's unpack this. As you all know, Tyre Nichols, he actually had his homegoing service. And that was the last thing that I mentioned on the channel. So I'm going to tell a little story about myself. I have a family who was very involved, extremely involved in the civil rights movement. So marching, protesting, all of those things are not new to me. So when the incident happened, the unfortunate incident and murder of George Floyd happened. And of course, it happened right in the middle of the pandemic. I was one of those people who literally were on the pavement, who were very active. Um, and not just on social media, I actually went to a march. And at that particular march, there was a vehicle that drove right through the crowd. I actually considered posting the video of the clip when the truck drove through the crowd to on YouTube, but it's very triggering. I was just so disgusted and hurt about how that man was killed. And I could have actually lost my life at that march that day because there were racist people who drove their vehicle through the crowd that day. And this was a peaceful march, right in front of the state capitol, right on that street. Police were very active and out in full force during the march. There were people of all races that were at the march as well. Roads and streets were blocked off. And it is rumored that a particular police officer actually moved aside the barricade so that this racist vehicle full of racists could be able to drive through the crowd. Now, it was very disturbing to me to later on find out that George Floyd was a colorist. Here it is, my black self marching, singing Kumbaya and spirituals for a man that didn't even care for me. So after that incident, I said to myself, oh, I'm going to think twice before I go out and march. One, it was because of the colorist thing. Two, it was because, you could be killed out here. Back when my grandparents marched during the civil rights movement, you know, people weren't driving vehicles through crowds. They weren't doing that. They were more so dealing with water hoses and police officers. Now, thankfully, we have laws and things like that that somewhat prohibit that type of behavior. And what's sad is that those individuals who drove through the crowd were never charged. That's how, it's rumored that they quite possibly were purposely let in to possibly hurt someone or scare someone at the march. Now, I'm bringing all of this up to talk about Tyre Nichols. Now, there was, someone that reached out to me that watches my channel. They reached out to me, they messaged me and they said, "Why am I giving this whole detailed information about the woman who was assaulted in Ohio, but I'm not talking about Tyre Nichols. And of course, I had my reasons to not talk about Tyre Nichols, and I had already discovered what people are finding out now, much later. I'm a person, especially after what took place with George Floyd. I have a habit of doing my research now. I'm not going to get behind or raise awareness for a cause unless I know about it 100%. Now, I will be posting my receipts on my community wall, so you don't have to worry about that. That will be done. But the Latinka Hancock issue really bothered me because no one was talking about that. And that was a woman who needed to get her story out. Now, it's very unfortunate when it comes to Tyre Nichols because he was killed by Memphis police officers, men who were a part of not only the police department, not only were they also a part of the Black community, because these are 5 Black men, they were also a part of the Divine Nine. 3 of the members were members of Omega Psi Phi. That really bothered me. Because if they really know the history of their organization and their founding members and members of their organization and all of the work that they have done for the civil rights movement, and you kill an innocent Black man, now, since those men have been arrested, they have been denounced from the organization, and all association and membership has been revoked. So I will say that. But at the time that they killed this man, they were members of the organization. And as you being a member of the Divine Nine, one of the historically Black sororities and fraternities, you're held to a higher standard. You're held to a higher regard. And it broke my heart to know that these men were members of the organization because they're members of that organization in my family. And understand, the conversations go deep. Some of the things that I've heard from, the men in my family. Now, that is talking about it from that standpoint. But now let's talk about it from Tyre Nichols' standpoint, because I'm going to talk about what no one else is talking about. He was a colorist his damn self. This man had a disdain for Black women, and especially dark-skinned Black women. He had a very big affection for white women. If you go down his Twitter, all you see is his ode to white women, blonde hair, blue eyes. It also kind of seems like he may have had some type of sex addiction because, every couple of tweets you see some type of ode to pornography with white women. And I'm a type of person, I want to see how a person is interacting with his friends. I want to see how a person is interacting when they think that no one is looking. So I did. I went on to his Twitter and on to his social media, and I'm going to post these receipts so you all will be able to see them for yourself. But he said, and I quote, "I need a white girl with blue eyes." Also, another thing that I noticed is that he had this big affection for the fact that he was a father and he had a child who was extremely fair skinned. And he was very proud of his child being looking more white. That bothered me. Because here it is, you're a black man living in America, but yet you were happy that your child looks white. There's more. Then he made another tweet that said, "There's a reason I don't talk to dark skinned bitches." And that's where we have a problem. Because it was your black mother who's dark skinned that you cried out for in your last moments of life. It's black women who have been campaigning for you on social media. It's black women who have been completely in sorrow and screaming to the top of their lungs for you to be able to get justice. Black women. I don't see too many blonde hair, blue eyed women on social media requesting and asking for help on your GoFundMe or reposting your GoFundMe or even reposting what happened to you in a tragic way. Now, I don't want to negate what happened to this man because it's tragic and it's disgusting what happened to him. But let's be clear, it happened to him by men who look like him, but yet he hated women who look like us. Because I don't see too many men that look like him that's campaigning for him. I see a whole lot of women looking like us that's campaigning for him and that's asking for justice. Not, yeah, I know this is a hard conversation. I know there's probably people, on the live right now that's not agreeing with what I'm saying, but it's the truth. Black women, stop going where you're only tolerated. This is why I had the issue with the Tracy woman. Because that man literally said, "I'm going to put 3 to your head." But she laughed about it and thought it was a joke. And here it is. She gets justice. He's in jail. He's awaiting sentencing. And yet she is basically requesting that everyone just let it go. And she wants to have on, basically, you might as well say, she has Free Rob branded on her head. Mind you, this man threatened to kill you multiple times. That was triggering to me when I read those tweets from that young man. And this is the thing, people will say, "Oh, well, it happened years ago." He still had that same mentality. And how I know he still had the same mentality is because I don't even want to talk about his Facebook book. His Facebook had the same type of rhetoric. And then all up and down his social media, it's literally tributes to white women in Chris Brown. He had this theme for Chris Brown. And what was crazy to me is Chris Brown, his own damn self, is a colorist. He even puts it in his songs. But yet y'all will still pay $1,000 for VIP to go and see him. While he's sitting around calling you Black Monkey, Tar Baby, and Darky. You better learn how to love yourself, Black people. Black people of all shades, sizes, colors, creeds, religions. Love yourself. Stop marching for people who do not care for you. Because guess what? If it was the other way around, they wouldn't be marching for you. They wouldn't be marching for you. There's a few people in the chat. If any of you all have any commentary, let's talk about it. Hey, if you have a difference of opinion, put it down in the chat. Let's talk about it. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, let's talk about it. Because I'm tired of this. I am tired of us going behind and campaigning for people who do not care for us. I want to see us rise up together and do better than this. Now, this is my thing. Don't get any type of confusion to think that I think that what happened to him was okay or that it's justified. It's not. It's terrible what happened to that young man. He deserves justice. Police brutality is police brutality. Period. These were some disgusting, dirty cops. But we're not going to negate the fact that this man also was a colorist. Oh, yes, absolutely. It's in his music. He makes reference to dark skin, that he doesn't like dark skinned women in his music. Yeah, and the women are actually paying $1,000 for VIP tickets to go and see him for a meet and greet. Absolutely, Chris Brown. And I thought it was very telling that this Tyre Nichols man has Chris Brown all up and down his timeline. He definitely had an infatuation with Chris Brown. I said, go figure. Chris Brown is one of those people who talk about color a lot in his music. Have you ever seen him with a dark-skinned woman? Everybody look Asian, correct? Blasian. I think that's what they call it. Blasian, Black and Asian. Mm-hmm. Right. You haven't. See, I'm the type of person, I want to talk about the issues that other people are too afraid to talk about. Let's talk about it. Anyone else want to come through? Thank you so much for coming through, Master T. Anybody else want to come through? Anyone else have anything to say? I see it's a few more people in, Absolutely, no problem. Do your research on who you support and do your research on who you're marching for. Do your research on who you campaigning for. At this point, just do your research thoroughly. Check everything. Even after you check it, fact check it, and then fact check it again. Because I was literally going to make the decision on making this whole elaborate video about this young man and how, fantastic he was, and the background with his family, two-person household, etc. All of this stuff. And then I find out this information. And I would have never even done that if I would not have later found out what happened with George Floyd. So, from now on, just do your research. Do your research before you support anyone. Look into their past and find out more about them. Oh, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. Absolutely, Master T, makes a huge difference. Okay, well, that's it. I'm actually going to come back on and talk about something else in just a few short minutes. So it's going to be a different topic. So, of course, I need to make another live. So this is this. And then the next video, we're going to get into some things. And just to give you a hint, it's pretty chaotic. So we'll talk about it in the next video. All right. See you then. Give me a few minutes.